Hello, and welcome to day 15 of Vlogmas. Full disclosure, I'm actually beginning to think that I bit off a little bit too much that I can chew because a video a day is just, it's hard. It's really hard to put out a video every single day. And I'm trying, I really am. I know I missed a couple days in there, and the perfectionist in me is like, you missed it, and the other part of me is just like, it's okay, it's fine. You have put out more videos this month alone than I've ever put out regularly, so that's a win. Next year will be better. We're just giving ourselves grace right now. But that being said, it's day 15 of Vlogmas, and I have a new video for you guys here today. If you've been with me for a while, hi, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Adele Ashley. I talk about everything from books, skincare, life in general on this channel. You know, I'm just a 30-something-year-old living in Toronto and just enjoying my life. What else can I say? But yeah, today we're going to talk about the winter books that I'm excited for. So essentially everything coming out from, I'd say, about now until the end of March-ish. All the new releases that I'm really excited to come out. Some of them are from authors I've read before. Some of them are debut novels. I can't wait. Excited to dive into it with you guys. So as always, I do have my list right here of everything with synopsises or synopses? I have my full list with synopses. I think that's the word for it. Right here, because as much as I know these books, I will not be able to remember for sure what each book is about. So if you see me looking over here, that's just what I'm referring to. Just my list with all the notes about all these books, but let's get into it. So the first book that I'm actually really excited for is Housebroke by Jaci Burton. This comes out on December 12th, or it came out on December 12th. And it is about a millionaire and a woman who thinks he's a house flipper, and they are stuck living together in this house with a menagerie of dogs, like rescue dogs, as housemates. So Hazel Bristow is left broke and homeless after her ex took all their money, and she has a friend whose house is on the market and tells Hazel that she could stay there with all the foster dogs that she has until it sells. It seems like a fairly pretty easy setup, except for the fact that this friend has forgotten that she sold the house. So when the new owner, Link Kennedy, comes in, he's like, who is this person with all their dogs squatting in my brand new house? You know, she negotiates with him a little bit and she offers to cook meals for him in return for a paycheck, and he agrees to let her remain while he's renovating the entire house. Link tells Hazel he's an investor who renovates homes for fun, and he just leaves out the part about being a millionaire. And Hazel's very intrigued by Link. He's funny, he's sweet, he's very hot, loves dogs, you know, just everything that's ticking off her list. And she's just not sure if this is something that she wants to continue with or that she would even be comfortable continuing with. And also he's feeling the same way too about her. So he has a horrible track record with women. A lot of them sometimes are looking for his money or to take advantage of him. But together the two of them realize that they actually really kind of gel together. So then it's is this puppy love or is it true love? You know, it's a romance. So it's very formulaic, you know how it's going to play out. But Jaci Burton actually wrote some of my favorite sports romances that I read a while ago. So to see her diving into something that's a little bit different is kind of exciting for me, and I'm really looking forward to diving into this one soon. On December 26th, On the Plus Side by Jenny L. Howe comes out, and it is being described as if What Not to Wear meets Queer Eye meets all the feels in a rom-com, and it's essentially follows Everly Winters, who is perfectly happy just navigating life, staying in the shadows instead of exploring a career in art, which is what she ultimately wants to do. She lurks on the forums of her favorite reality TV show or a makeover show On the Plus Side, and She really plans to stay unnoticed until someone secretly nominates her for that TV show. So overwhelmed by the show's extremely extroverted host and how much time she'll have to spend on screen, she ends up finding comfort in this grumpy but kind cameraman, Logan. And she realizes that he's someone that she doesn't actually mind being noticed by. So he's very kind to her, he's very nice, he kind of makes her feel seen, and she really likes that. However, their growing connection is caught on camera one time, and it sends the show's ratings into a frenzy. So she has to learn to embrace herself on national TV, but also risk heartbreak while the whole world is watching because everyone's rooting for her and Logan. This seems like such a cute story, and the whole reality TV show, Shy's main character, and the premise of falling in love with one of the crew members reminds me a lot of The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane, which I loved. And to a certain degree, now that I think about it, like If the Shoe Fits, because you do have kind of like that breaking the fourth wall and If the Shoe Fits a little bit. But essentially, like, I will be reading this. It seems so cute and right up my alley, and the type of thing that I would love to read, because like I said, I loved The Charm Offensive so much, and it does have that like producer and reality TV star kind of vibe going on. So this seems as if it's very similar, very much something that I would love. Valley Verified by Kyla Zhao is out on January 16th and is about a fashion writer who dives headfirst into the cutthroat Silicon Valley tech world. So on paper, Zoe Zhang seems to have made it in New York City's fashion world. She has done a string of unpaid internships. She is a fashion consultant at like this magazine. She has this beautiful apartment in Manhattan, and she gets invited to all the exclusive industry events, but it's just not what she really imagined it would be. So her editor really wants to censor her opinions to please big brands. She shares her very nice, like, quaint apartment with 3 other roommates, who like just never let her do things or be herself at home, so she can't store her kimchi in the fridge. And you know, all those clothes and everything that she's wearing to all these parties and events, she actually can't afford either on her meager salary. So when she receives a job offer from FitPick, a startup based in Silicon Valley, the tech salary and the office perks are sweet, so she moves across the country, and it seems perfect, but you know, switching industries is not always the greatest. And, you know, she soon realized that in an industry claiming to change the world for the better, not everyone's intentions are pure. So she has an 8-figure investment on the line. She must find a way to revamp this app's image despite Silicon Valley elitism and her icy colleagues. And, you know, she's worried that the company's future will go up in the smoke as well as hers with it. I'm just kind of intrigued by this, just in general, like the whole fashion editor going into the tech world and what's it going to be. I believe this is just a fiction book, but it does seem very interesting as well. I'm interested in how much they'll dive into kind of the BIPOC side of it as well, because I do know the synopsis does actually talk about her being like something, a microaggression as simple as like them not letting her store her kimchi in the fridge is, you know, that is a microaggression for a lot of people of color. So I'm interested in seeing how it all plays out, especially in the tech world, which I know sometimes is not as forgiving or as welcoming as they would like to portray themselves to be. I actually haven't talked about any of Emma Lord's books on this channel yet, which is actually such a travesty because she is easily one of my favorite authors. I first read Tweet Cute, I remember it was like January 1st when I read Tweet Cute years and years ago, and I basically devoured that book in a day. And then every book that comes out afterwards, she always seems to have a release that kind of coincides with the new year. Like it always seems to be coming out in January, and a lot of times it has been the first book of the year that I have ever read. So, or the year that it comes out, it's usually the first book that I read that year. So The Getaway List is an uplifting and a romantic read about Riley, a young girl who realizes 2 things on her high school graduation day. One, that she has spent the last 4 years of her life trying so hard to be like the good kid for her mother, and she has no idea who she really is anymore. And two, she has no idea what she wants because of that. So her solution is to pack her bags and move to New York for the summer, where her childhood friend Tom and co-creator of the Getaway list lives. And the Getaway list is essentially just a list of all the adventures they've wanted to do together since he moved away. And she's really hoping that the Getaway list will help her get in touch with her old adventure self and pave the way to a new future for her. Riley isn't really sure what to expect from Tom. He has been a little bit distant with her since his famous mom's scriptwriting career pulled him away. And when Riley arrives in the city, their reconnection is as effortless as it was when they were kids, except for one unexpected complication that just kind of like pulls Riley's feelings in a direction that she didn't know that they would go. So she and Tom and their newfound friends work their way through the chaotic item of lists on the Getaway list. Riley learns that sometimes the biggest adventure is not the one you take, but one you feel in your heart. Honestly, I already know that this book is just going to hit me right in the feels. Emma Lord has this way of writing stories that are cute and charming, but also really heartfelt and filled with love, friendship, and family. I love just about every single one of them. I truly, like, the Getaway list is like top of my list. When it comes out, I will be reading it. It's easily one of those books for me. The Breakup tour by Emily Wibberley and Siegemund-Broka, I really hope that I am pronouncing that correctly, is out on January 23rd as well. And it is about a rising star musician who has a second chance at love with an old flame she remembers all too well. So Riley went from a promising singer-songwriter career to a superstar overnight thanks to the Breakup concept album that she wrote. And it has a very unforgettable lead single, so it blows up, and Riley's ex-husband claims that the song is actually written about him, when in reality it is about her college boyfriend, Max Harcourt. And Max hasn't spoken to Riley since they broke up, and he is fairly content managing his family's retirement home that they own. However, it's just not the life filled with music that he thought that he would have or that he dreamed of. So when Riley asks him to go public as her songwriting muse, he agrees on one condition. He wants to go on tour with her band. And as they perform across the country, Max and Riley start to realize that while they hit some wrong notes in the past, essentially their future could hold different things, and their rekindled relationship will either last forever or just go down in flames. Also coming out on January 23rd is Family Family by Laurie Frankel, and it starts with not all stories of adoption are stories of pain and regret, not even most of them. Why don't we ever get that movie? So the synopsis is, I'm just going to read it honestly because there's not much to it. But India Allwood grew up wanting to be an actor, armed with a stack of index cards for research, line memorization, makeshift confetti. She goes from awkward 16-year-old to Broadway ingenue to TV superhero. Her new movie is a prestige picture about adoption, but its spin is the same old tired story of tragedy. India is an adoptive mom in real life, though. She wants everyone to know there's more to her family than pain and regret. So she does something you should never do. She tells the journalists the truth. It's a bad movie. Soon she's at the center of a media storm, battling accusations from the press and the paparazzi, from protesters on the right and advocates on the left. Her twin 10-year-olds know they need help, and who better to call than family? But that's where it gets really messy, because India's not just an adoptive mother. The one thing she knows for sure is what makes a family isn't blood, and it isn't love. No matter how they're formed, the truth about family is this: it's complicated. So I honestly have no clue where the story is going to go, especially since the synopsis doesn't really tell us much. I want to know what makes the movie bad, and also what's this secret or thing that India is hiding. I can totally be reading more into this than it needs to be done, but it just seems interesting in general. I'm thinking it's going to be not as simple as India went and adopted these kids. who have no relation to her whatsoever. I feel like this might be a story where we find out that she's secretly like their sister or something like that. Like or it's like some long lost relative, and aunt. I don't know. Essentially what I'm getting at is this hints that there's so much more to the story than what's in the synopsis, and I just want to read it. It looks like such a interesting or like thought-provoking read, especially since I know there are a lot of conflicting views about the adoption industry and whether or not this is something that is good or something that is absolutely horrible. So, or even I guess like kind of neutral, like middle ground to it. So it is interesting to see a book that is going to dive into that a little bit more. And then finally in January, Come and Get It by Kylie Reid comes out on January 30th. And I don't really have the words to describe this other than I am like ridiculously excited for this to come out. I actually received an advance copy of this, and I fully intended to read it before filming this video, but then Iron Flame came out and I've been in a book hangover since. So while I can read it and I've read other books, I know that I'm not yet in the headspace to really dive into this. So I haven't read it yet, but I will be reading it shortly. It will be done. I will have read it before the end of the year, basically. I actually put the full synopsis of this in my notes as well because it covers everything, so I'm just going to read it. But this is a fresh and provocative story about a residential assistant and her messy entanglement with a professor and 3 unruly students. It's 2017 at the University of Arkansas. Millie Cousins, a senior resident assistant, wants to graduate, get a job, and buy a house. So when Agatha Paul, a visiting professor and writer, offers Millie an easy yet unusual opportunity, she jumps at the chance. But Millie's starry-eyed hustle becomes jeopardized by odd new friends, vengeful dorm pranks, and illicit intrigue. A fresh and intimate portrait of desire, consumption, and reckless abandon, Come and Get It is a tension-filled story about money, indiscretion, and bad behavior. Like I said, I feel like this is just going to be an amazing read. I really liked Such a Fun Age, Kylie Reid's first book, so to dive into this one as well is just, like, honestly, when I got the notification that I got an advanced reader copy of it, I literally screamed. So, like, I am so excited for this book. I've been looking forward to it since I knew she was writing another one, so we will be diving headfirst into that very, very soon. So on February 13th, The Catch by Amy Lea comes out, and it is giving me It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey vibes. It's really could just be about the fact that it's about someone who was in the fashion industry and then a grumpy lobster fisherman, and, you know, it just seems Piper in Alaska. It's kind of what I'm expecting purely based off of the synopsis, so I'm interested to see how it's different. So it's essentially about a grumpy lobster fisherman who tosses a fashion influencer's impeccably curated life overboard. And she is in this, so this influencer, Melanie Carlson, finds herself in a rural fishing village on the east coast of Canada in a last-ditch effort to rescue her brand from the brink of irrelevance. Wow, I cannot speak. So the only thing scarier than nature itself for her is the burly and bearded bed and breakfast owner and fisherman Evan Whaler, who single-handedly disapproves the theory that Canadians are nice. So after a boating accident leaves Evan unconscious in the hospital, Mel is mistaken for his fiance by his welcoming yet quirky family, who are embroiled in a long-standing feud over the B&B, and in a bold attempt to mend family fences, Mel agrees to fake an engagement to Evan for 1 week in exchange for Evan's help with her social media content. So they go on long hikes together, they have campfire chats, and reeling in their budding feelings for each other proves more difficult by the minute. So, like I said, it's giving like that grumpy sunshine, It Happened One Summer vibes. There is like a fake dating, fake engagement, I guess, in there as well, and slowly realizing that, you know, I think I actually love this person or want to be in a relationship with them, happy for now, happy forever. So either way, I'll be reading it. It looks like a really fun Valentine's Day read for sure. Till They're With You by Lindsay Hammeroff comes out on February 20th, and I actually have an ARC copy of this as well. I'm actually currently reading it. So it is about a culinary student, Lexi Berman, who is 24 and has one goal. She wants to make her late mother proud by becoming an executive chef in a Michelin star restaurant, and she isn't going to let anything or anyone get in the way of her achieving that dream. But then she meets Jake Taylor, a dive bar musician who charms her with show tunes, and she makes a rare exception to her no dating rule. So they have one steamy weekend together. Jake goes off to LA to record a demo, and Lexi doesn't really expect to see him ever again. And she doesn't expect him to also become an overnight celebrity with a breakup single that's most definitely about her blueberry pancakes that she made him. So as Jake's star rises and the world speculates about the subject of his song, Lexi keeps their brief affair like very much to herself. Even her friends don't even know that she had this weekend with him. And as she's finding her footing in her new restaurant job, so like she graduates culinary school, she starts working in this restaurant and is open to a prospective romance with a coworker. She gets kind of thrown for a loop when Jake shows up at her doorstep late one night, and just like all her carefully laid plans just go out the window. So she and Jake try to be friends. Things between them soon start to like reheat. And she does realize that a relationship with Jake means risking her face being in the tabloids and withstanding cruel internet comments and just everything that comes with that, like just all the negative stuff there. As Jake's upcoming tour approaches and rumors swirl about him and another pop star, Lexi has to decide if holding on to her meticulously planned out life is worth walking away from for what could be the perfect recipe for love. So it's steeped both in the chaos of like fame and LA and musicians, as well as the high stakes world of New York City restaurants. It's a little bit of like second chance love. There's a dollop of celebrity drama, and like I've been loving it so far. It's just like a really fun, entertaining read, and they do a really good job of like talking about the food in it as well. So you know, like her prepping stuff in the restaurant, like it's very real to life and her struggles and everything else. So I'm enjoying it. I will let you guys know for sure all my thoughts on the book and my rating in my December reading wrap up. Right on Cue by Falon Balard also comes out on February 27th, and it's about Hollywood darling Emily Harper, who is considered the queen of writing romantic comedies. And however, tragedy strikes, and she swears she'd never write a happy ending again. So after some time away and lots of encouragement from family and friends, Emily is ready to dive back into the genre with her latest project. But more is riding on this movie than just her return to the big screen. This time she's been convinced to star as the lead, dusting off acting skills she hasn't used in over a decade. So she's naturally nervous yet excited to give performing another shot until a last-minute injury benches her trusted co-star. And there's only one other actress available on short notice, Grayson West, who is a blockbuster action star known for his megawatt smile and impossible ads. And, you know, he's anyone's dream romantic lead. And, well, anyone except Emmy, that is, who still blames him for her disastrous first movie and the early end to her acting career. So as filming begins, the friction between the two of them is palpable, and it's anyone's guess if it's unresolved awkwardness or simmering sexual tension. The two are pushed to get their acts together and quickly, or they risk tanking the entire movie. But if working things out leads to sizzling chemistry on screen, what might happen when the camera stops rolling? So I love Falon Balard books. Lease on Love and Just My Type were some really fun reads for me, and Right on Cue seems as if it would kind of have that same kind of feel to it as well. Just like a feel-good, fun read for a cold weekend day. Like, you know, that's all I'm looking for here. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan is actually the second in the Skyland series. So it is out on March 5th, and it is follows Soledad, who is one of the friends. So it is a standalone. Soledad is one of the friends from the first book. So she has her life all planned out because, of course, she does. And, you know, she's a domestic goddess who's never met a party she couldn't host or a charge she couldn't lead. And she always has the answer. She has a perfect vinaigrette for a summer salad. Like, she is the one who has, like, their shit together. But none of her varied talents can save her when catastrophe strikes. And the life she built with the man who was supposed to be her forever just goes poof in a cloud of betrayal and disillusion. So there's no time to pout or sulk or even grieve the life she lost. She's too busy keeping a roof over her daughter's heads and food on the table for them. So in the process of saving them all, Soledad rediscovers herself. From the ashes of a life burnt to the ground, something bold and new can rise. But then an unlikely man enters the picture. He's the forbidden one, the one she should want but can't seem to resist. And she refuses to repeat her previous mistakes. But she also doesn't know if she can trust this man. And, you know, she wants to trust him. She wants to trust herself. And she wants to figure out, like, can she be brave enough to make room for what could be? So this could be us. I also have an advanced copy of this, so I most likely will be reading it this month as well, and my review will most likely be in the December reading wrap up. But I love the first book in this series, Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. It was a really good representation of Black characters who might be having some struggle, but are also really thriving in other aspects of their lives. Before I Let Go had a lot of mental health representation as well, which was very nice to see, including, like, Black people, especially Black men and their sons, going to therapy. And it was a beautiful book. It was also, like, super steamy. Like, I was not expecting it to be so spicy and so steamy, but, like, so good. So this could be us. I do remember Soledad's story a little bit as well. So I'm kind of excited to dive back into Skyland and see what's happening and dive into this friend group and just kind of revisit it, essentially. And then I still want to know, like, is the restaurant from book 1 opening? Because I want to go. But that is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. The next book on my list is Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice by Elle Cosimano, out on March 5th. I'm actually not going to give much of a synopsis for this because it is the 4th or 5th book in a series. So I don't want to give out, like, too much information about what happens. This is actually one of my favorite series. Like, every time a new book comes out in it, I make sure that I read it because Finlay Donovan is, like, a hot mess in the best way possible. Essentially, she is this single mother with 3 children who's just, like, always getting involved in shenanigans. In the first book, she is mistaken as, like, a contract killer or, like, a hitman, and it just kind of, like, spirals from there through the rest of the series. This one, Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice, follows Finlay and her nanny / partner in crime bureau as they are, like, in sore need of a girls' weekend away. So they plan a trip to Atlantic City, and, you know, it's like, oh, this is going to be all fun and games, but the joke really is that, like, it's actually a cover story for them to negotiate a deal with this, like, a dangerous loan shark and try to save someone else. And, like, it's just, they're looking for a stolen car as well. Just, like, you know, everything is happening except fun and games when they're in Atlantic City. And it should be kind of easy, except Finlay's ex-husband Steven and her mother insist on tagging along, so then the kids are there as well. And it's just, I know kind of what I'm going to get when I go into this book. It's going to be laugh out loud funny. There's going to be a whole bunch of mess. They're going to get into instances. They're going to get out of them. The hot cop is probably going to be back as well. It's going to be a great read, essentially, and I cannot wait until March 5th when it comes out. I then have Expiration Date by Rebecca Serle. So it's about a girl, Daphne Bell, who believes the universe has a plan for her. Every time she meets a new man, she receives a slip of paper with his name and a number on it. And that number is the exact amount of time that they will be together. So the papers told her she'd spend 3 days with Martin in Paris, 5 weeks with Snow in San Francisco, and 3 months with Hugo, her ex-boyfriend turned best friend. And Daphne has been receiving the numbered papers for over 20 years, always wondering where there might be the one without an expiration. Then finally, the night of a blind date at her favorite Los Angeles restaurant, there's only a name, Jake. But as Jake and Daphne's story unfolds, Daphne finds herself doubting the paper's prediction and wrestling with what it means to be both committed and truthful. Because Daphne knows things Jake doesn't, and information that if he found out would break his heart. I really like this. I always find that Rebecca Serle's books have these like magical realism to them as well. There's always kind of like some element of it that makes it a little bit different, both from like, I'm completely blanking on the name of her books, but her 2 previous books, One Italian Summer and I can't remember the other one, but I will make sure to put a note when I remember. But both of them have this kind of like magical element where something just kind of happens that changes how the story plays out a little bit, while still kind of like being based in reality. I love it. And also, like, I would love to know how long I'm going to be spending time with someone, or maybe not, because I just think, you know, you get it and you know 3 months and it's like perfect 3 months with this person, but at the same time, like, do you not fully commit because you know it's just a short period of time? I don't know. I'm really reading into it. Either way, Expiration Days by Rebecca Serle, I am really excited to read. Next on my list is Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. This is out March 12th, and it just seems like a fun, it's kind of sad, but it seems like a fun concept and kind of funny. So essentially it starts off with Sophie Steinbeck, who finds out just before her wedding that her fiance has cheated yet again, and she just wants to call it off. Like, she is done. And the only problem is her future father-in-law is her dad's cutthroat boss, so she doesn't want to be the one to actually call off the wedding. So she hires a professional objector whose purpose is to show up at the wedding and proclaims, like, I object during that section of the wedding where they're like, if anyone doesn't like this, like, speak now or forever hold their peace. So during anti-wedding festivities that night, Sophie learns more about Max, the objector's job, and it makes perfect sense to her. He saves people from wasting their lives and from hurting each other, and he's essentially, like, to her, a modern-day hero, and Sophie wants in. So the two love cynics start working together and going from wedding to wedding, and Sophie's having more fun than she's ever had in ages, and she looks forward to every nerve-wracking ceremony, saving the lovesick souls of the betrothed masses. So as they spend more time together, they realize that their physical chemistry is off the chart, leading them to dabble in a little hookup session or two, but it's totally fine because they definitely do not have feelings for each other. And, you know, love doesn't exist after all, and then everything changes all of a sudden. A groom-to-be hires Sophie to object, but his fiancée is the woman who broke Max's heart. And as Max wrestles with whether he can be party to his ex getting hurt, Sophie grapples with the sudden realization that she may have fallen hard for her partner in crime. So I love it. I honestly was hooked from the beginning of the synopsis. Like, it literally goes like their name, objectors, their job to break weddings off as hired, their dilemma, they might just be in love with each other. Like, I am a sucker for this. And I love a book with people who are cynical about love, who end up falling in love. Either, like, you know, you could call it grumpy sunshine or like grumpy. But I am so excited to dive into this one as well. I also really like Lynn Painter books. So, you know, essentially in winter, it's all my favorite authors have books coming out. So I can't really complain. Like, I know that I'm going to like most of everything that I read this winter. So that is everything that I am looking forward to reading in winter 2024. Please let me know in the comments below if you are looking forward to any of these books, or if there are books that you think that I should read that are coming out over the next few months. Till next time, have a great day.